You're listening to WICR's AB Sports Conversation with Anthony Carlo and Benzino the Hero.
Got to give credit where credit is due. Can't give credit to Eli Manning because Eli Manning doesn't stop throwing interceptions. Not even interceptions. They're the ugliest interceptions.
They're overthrows. He's doing it on purpose sometimes.
It looks like it.
That's picked off by Seattle Maxwell. Oh, man, what an interception. The fourth of the day for Eli Manning.
It's a different part of the offense. When Carmelo Anthony's at the power forward position, he has more room to operate because even though bigger players are on him, he can just shoot over them. He's faster than bigger players in the league.
So that's what makes Carmelo Anthony special.
Yes.
Special. He's a special player because not everybody can do that.
In the hands of Anthony. Anthony for three. Puts it in! Next by one with 8.2 remaining.
But you know what's going to shock the world is if somebody comes closer to the Yankees. Cano, I don't think he's going to hesitate that much or just leave him. Think he may just leave?
Nah, he's going to stay.
Robinson Cano has agreed to sign with the Mariners.
Just fortunately for the Giants, they were on the winning end of the sloppy game.
They were less of a slob on the dinner table.
Listen to this.
The Giants were less of a slob than the Raiders were at the dinner table, and the dinner table was the football field.
I don't know how you do it. I don't understand. You come up with these things off the top of your head.
On the spot.
A-Rod and Jeter both brought in more fan excitement. There was always more of a buzz.
1-2. He loops out to left field. Going to be a tough play. Jeter on the run, makes the play, and flies into the stands. Oh, what a play by Derek Jeter.
You know how excited I am?
I know. I can see it in your face.
I'm more excited than a caterpillar on the day turning into a butterfly. That's how excited I am for the Knicks coming back.
And we are sitting here, two legends of the trade. Sports broadcasting is what we do.
That's what we do, man.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Sports debating, even got slipping, Stephen A. hating. Just two dudes from the 914 talking about basketball, baseball, and so much more. So tune in and don't be loony. Now let's get Tom Cruise movie. Yeah, with your host Anthony Carlo, Benzino the Hero. Let's go.
We are ready to go here at WICR's AV Conversation.
What's up? What's up? Anthony
Carlo and Benzino are in the house, and we have a special guy here watching our show today.
No microphone having Rob Jiggity.
Yeah.
Rob Jiggity is a former guest, former NBA analyst on AB Conversation, just stopping by showing support.
Absolutely. Rob, we love you, Rob. I mean, it's been too long.
Too long, Rob. And you're still not talking because you don't have a mic. No, Rob, no. You're a silent guest today.
Listen, we're gonna have a guest on a little bit later on in the show.
Unnamed source.
Benzino's. Okay. We'll leave it a secret.
At that. Yep.
We'll leave it a secret. But we got a great show today. We got first of all a lot of Knicks. Well, some big Knicks news. Big Knicks news. We got a little recap. We'll talk Knicks. We'll talk Phil Jackson. We'll be talking NBA postseason because we all know how much everybody loves the NBA postseason.
Correct.
It's one of the greatest times of the year, and we'll finish off with some baseball, little Yankees Red Sox for you. I'm sure a lot of New York is happy that the Rangers hockey team pulled away
yes,
with a win. They're 2-up on the Flyers.
They won 4-1 last time they played.
Yes, and Dan Girardi had a goal. A couple of guys, getting into the action, and so they're playing well. So New York is hyped up about that. They are definitely pulling. We're all pulling for the red and blue to make a run.
Because the orange and blue didn't get it done, as we know.
No, the orange and blue didn't get it. But let's get into that.
Yes. First, can we put on Rob Jiggity's mic? He's fully equipped now.
Absolutely. Let's get Rob Jiggity in here. Ready, Rob? We're raising you up. Here we go. Let's speak. Speak for us, Rob.
Hello? Jiggity.
Yeah, yes, here we go.
Rob Jiggity is here in studios.
Beautiful. He's our producer for the day.
Yes, Robert. How does that make you feel?
So
feels good.
So sometimes you watch. I know you, Ben. You don't listen to sports talk radio that much, right?
From time to time.
You ever hear when they invite the producer on to talk?
Oh, yes.
Like on the Boomer and Carton, they do it all the time.
Rob Jiggity's our producer.
Yeah. So Rob, interject when you may. How about the big news, Ben?
The big news out of today is Knicks president of basketball operations, Phil Jackson, said some words. He said a lot of words today, actually.
He said a lot of words. It's stemming from the decision he made to fire Coach Mike Woodson.
Correct.
Ben Zeno, Mike Woodson, yay or nay?
Mike Woodson being fired, or Mike Woodson, the coach, the former head coach of the New York Knicks, and how did he do for the Knicks?
If you were Phil Jackson right now, would you have fired Mike Woodson?
If I was Phil Jackson right now, I wouldn't fire him the day after Easter. I'd fire him on Friday of the following week.
Oh,
if Phil Jackson's entering the organization, he wants to have it his way. The old coach got to go, and the new coach is now what we're looking for in the New York Knicks.
Wow. Because I took you, Ben, as somebody who would have not agreed with the firing of Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson brought the New York Knicks to 54 wins last year, right, Rob Jiggity?
Yeah, and they won. They were trying to get up there in this year and win the division, but
exactly. They had the potential to take the next step, if you will, under Mike Woodson. The next step was pretty much in the horizon, because if you think about it, you had Mike Woodson coming in. They're coming off of a great year, even though they lost to Indiana in the playoffs. They went toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the NBA, finished great, won their division. They come back this year, and things just completely collapsed.
Yes.
Completely fell apart. There's no other way to describe it. But do you feel that all of that success gets erased?
Not at all, because as a Knicks fan, I do appreciate the services Mike Woodson did do for the New York Knicks for his 2.5 years, because don't forget, Mike Woodson was an interim coach when he first started with the Knicks. Mike D'Antoni was fired halfway through the year. Woodson stepped up, and he was the head coach, which led to the Knicks in the playoffs, but they lost against Boston. But through the 2.5 seasons, Mike Woodson was a coach in the Knicks. He had a record of 109 wins and 79 losses.
Which is fabulous.
Yes.
It's a great record.
Playoff victories.
Yes.
Advancing to the second round.
Yes.
But he did have his struggles as a coach, losing streaks.
He did.
The locker room was in question, especially this year, the locker room, how Mike Woodson could control the locker room.
Absolutely.
And also, Mike Woodson is the second fastest Knicks coach to 100 wins.
Yes.
So you see, like, he could get the team to win. But
statistician Rob Jiggity.
This year, it just couldn't happen.
That was a good stat there he pulled.
Wow,
that was
the
a
producer pulling out the stats.
Well, that's what he does. He's here to supply us with nuggets and information. But I that's how I felt. Mike Woodson obviously was the calm and cooling Mike Woodson.
Yes,
had that type of presence. But I agree with you, Ben. They questioned him this year. Amari Stoudemire questioned the team. And the system. Tyson Chandler questioned the defensive schemes.
Yes.
They questioned him. Mike Woodson, when another coach might have blew a gasket, always seemed to keep calm and collected.
Yes.
Maybe people will blame that for a reason why this team didn't turn it around. I mean, you had J.R. Smith untying laces, stuff like that. But here's the question now. All of that is said and done. Phil Jackson's in. Ben Zeno believes that Phil Jackson was coming in with a new imprint on the organization. Therefore, Mike Woodson was not in that picture. So who is? Who's in the picture now?
As of now, in the picture or starting to paint the picture, trying to say.
Well, yeah, exactly. Trying to start to paint the picture.
One person in mind is Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, former Chicago Bulls swingman.
An analyst.
A TNT analyst, NBA 2K analyst for all the basketball players.
Yeah.
But Steve Kerr is the man right now. Rumors for Brian Shaw, but Brian Shaw's in Denver, so he can't get out of that contract. Derek Fisher's name has been floated down a little bit, but he's still playing with the Thunder for NBA playoffs, which we will be discussing.
Which we will.
But Steve Kerr is the guy that Phil Jackson's looking for.
And Derek Fisher, just to say, terrific shape.
Yes.
He's in terrific shape. Better than half the players that are half his age.
Correct.
Now, go ahead, Rob. Speak.
During an interview, Steve Kerr earlier this week said he might not go for an Eastern team because of his living situation with his daughter, and
so he might not even be in the running.
He might not be in the East.
You see, this is unbelievable.
Wow.
He's more into coaching a Western Conference team if he was going to coach.
That's what you call a clutch broadcast.
Clutch.
You see, these are things we don't know about.
Rob
You see,
Jiggity
these are
in the
things-
clutch.
Wow.
Who clutch like Rob
He
Jiggity?
didn't give a certain. He didn't give a definite no, but he said more likely towards a Western team.
Wow, Rob.
All
Thank
right.
you for that Steve Kerr update, Rob.
You know what? The Anthony Carlo and Rob Jiggity.
Oh, man.
No,
Got
I would never do that to my friend over here, Ben Zeno. Listen, Rob, I want to ask you. Have you heard that Mark Jackson's on the hot seat?
No, I haven't really heard anything, but because the 40-point loss. Yeah, I heard.
Have you heard that Frank Vogel's on the hot seat?
Frank Vogel is on the hot seat as well.
Would you ever consider one of those coaches if the opportunity came up, inviting them to coach over Steve Kerr?
Rob, can I get the question first?
Go ahead, Ben.
All right. Mark Jackson was not offered. He did interview for the Knicks back when D'Antoni got the job.
Right.
He was in the running, but he didn't get the job, obviously. So maybe Phil Jackson seeing what he can do with the Warriors, how the Warriors became successful. Maybe Phil Jackson's mind plus Mark Jackson's mind will equal success. Plus the last name's Jackson, so it'll go well.
There you go. It all works out. Look, this is the everything in my opinion. Going forward now, did any of you hear the comments that Phil made today when he spoke to the press, the media?
I heard snippets.
Okay, I'm sure you heard the comment he made about Carmelo Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he said that if Carmelo, and I'm not quoting word for word because I don't have the quote here in front of me, but what I can generalize is that he said, if we wind up with Carmelo staying around, we're very fortunate. If we don't, we're very fortunate. He basically said if Carmelo walks, or if he doesn't walk, either way they're going to move forward and they're going to do well. What are your feelings about that one?
If Carmelo Anthony stays, he stays. If not, the Knicks are in rebuilding process. That's just my opinion.
Wow, Ben Zeno is coming off differently than I thought you were going to come off.
Rob Jiggity?
I feel Carmelo should do what's best for his career and what he feels is best for his career. So if he wants to leave, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Well, I mean, my take on it is that, look, I understand that sometimes there's a process where you have to move forward, and maybe Carmelo's not in Phil Jackson's eyes, the core of everything, like the be-all, end-all. But here's what I know. Carmelo Anthony is one of the best players in the NBA.
Correct.
Obviously, Phil, with making those comments, was alluding to the fact Carmelo may be looking for a ton load of money.
Yes.
If he wants max, which that's what they were talking about, I guess
he'll stay in New York.
Right. So what the deal is in my opinion, Phil Jackson should be trying to keep Carmelo. I don't feel like he should be bending over backwards to the point where he puts all his focus on Carmelo.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely don't think it should be a take it or leave it situation where it's kind of like it doesn't matter, which is the way it came off to me.
Phil Jackson also alluded to the fact that Carmelo, if he wants to stay, he would have to take a pay cut. Now, Rob, if he takes a pay cut in New York, he can get the most money in New York. But if he takes a pay cut in New York, he can do that the same in Houston and Chicago. Why would he do it in New York?
He might do it in New York for stability because his family is already there.
That's right.
So, but if he's gonna take a pay cut, why not take a pay cut in a place where he could win a championship or possibility to win a championship like Chicago or Houston?
Because next season, Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks are not projected to do well. And he's taking less money next year if he re-signs. Why would you take less money in New York when you can take less money in Chicago, per se, and have a chance to win a title?
Well, I think it all comes down to what he wants to do in terms of does he want to be a Knick. I mean, ultimately, that's what the question is.
Yes.
I mean, the way you explained it was perfect. I mean, it comes down to that. When we look back at what the Heat did, I mean, look at Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James.
All took pay cuts.
They all united, and they said, we're taking pay cuts, we're going to win championships. If Carmelo Anthony takes that approach, and maybe with the way Phil Jackson is going to structure this team, where he's going to go out and get players to accompany Anthony, why can't that happen in New York?
Go, Robbie.
It depends on how much faith Melo has in the team to go out and acquire at least like B+ level NBA players, if not like A caliber players.
I agree with Rob completely. But I agree, at least me, in my opinion, Phil Jackson came here for a reason.
Yes.
I don't think we have any reason to lose faith in the fact he's going to build this team up. I don't know what your feelings about that are, Ben, but...
Well, the Knicks do not have a first-round draft pick, and I believe they don't have a second-round draft pick. Because you can build your team in the draft. But back to the Knicks recap of the whole entire season, Anthony.
Correct.
One word to describe the Knicks season is inconsistent.
That's true.
May I tell you why?
Go ahead.
All right.
You may.
During the course of the Knicks season, the Knicks had a 9-game losing streak, a 5-game losing streak, followed by a 5-game... No, 5... Okay, let me start this over, fellas. The Knicks had a 9-game losing streak this year. Then they had a 5-game winning streak, followed by a 5-game losing streak, followed by a 4-game winning streak. Then, later in the season, they had a 7-game losing streak, but that was followed by an 8-game winning streak. And to finish the season, they had a 4-game winning streak, which I predicted.
Oh, that's very great. That's good to know.
But they didn't get in the playoffs.
No, they didn't get in the playoffs because the Atlanta Hawks stole that last spot.
Yes.
They exceed. But I think that you explained it perfectly, that the season can best be summarized as inconsistent. In my opinion, I would add a little more and say inconsistently more towards the bad side.
Definitely.
There were more bad spots than bright spots.
Iman Shumpert trade rumors, Raymond Felton's gun charges, and the injury bug.
Oh, absolutely.
The injury bug hit the Knicks tremendously. Andrea Bargnani.
Yeah, we still haven't seen him yet.
Kenyon Martin as well.
Rob, agree with me if you might. The Knicks showed potential throughout the whole season that they could beat great teams. They beat the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
They beat, granted, the Indiana Pacers were not great when the Knicks beat them. They were in a bit of a funk.
But they lost. But they were like this close to beating them earlier in the year. If Iman didn't foul
Paul George from the three-point line.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They would have won that game. They played a solid 48 minutes that game.
Exactly.
They showed that they could take on the top teams, if not take them out.
Right. There's no lie about the type of talent the Knicks have.
Yes.
There was no lie that they had the type of talent to contend for the in the East and have a great year like they did last year. The problem is that the team didn't put anything together. Mm-hmm. There was no chemistry. There was no it was a circus at times, like you said, with the gun charges, the J.R. Smith antics, and that's a main primary reason why Mike Woodson may be gone.
Yeah.
That he could not pull the team together. Sometimes you can't fire a whole roster. Mm-hmm. You have to fire the man responsible. Unfortunately, that's how it is.
But unfortunately for Mike Woodson and the entire coaching staff, they got the boot as well.
That's true.
A pure queen sleep. But a person that did not get the boot from the New York Knicks was sideline reporter Tina Cervasio. How do I know this? Because my sources told me she didn't, because she was a source, and I contacted her via Twitter. I said, because the information Mike Woodson got fired and the whole coaching staff got fired, I tweeted at Tina Cervasio. I said, I hope Phil didn't fire you too. And then she replied, I don't work for the Knicks, and I'm not part of the coaching staff. So she didn't get fired from the Knicks.
We're doing big things in here.
Yes.
Benzino is friends with Tina Cervasio.
I make my moves.
Sideline. So can I ask you, when am I getting my Knicks sideline reporter job?
I don't know, man.
What do you mean you don't know?
Hashtag Zeno for Knicks GM.
You got to hook it up for me now. You got fine. You set it with the next GM job, but you know Tina Cervasio, and now I don't have a job.
Hey, I got one response. Hey, just one.
Hey, look, I know you and Tina I know you're in cahoots. I know you know each other. I know you got everything planned.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I expect to see my job replacing her down the road.
Only if you can get me a question with Michael K. But I'd rather be with Tina Sebastian than Michael K. That's a whole nother story. But we'll be back with AB Conversation. NBA playoffs. Rob Jiggity is here, and the unknown guest might show up or might not. But we have Rob Jiggity here for now. So stay tuned to AB Conversation, guys. Thank you.